Hey everyone, welcome to my sewing and DIY channel. Today I have a really special guest here with me in the studio, Ramses. Okay, good boy. And together we're gonna show you a number of super quick and easy DIY dog crafts that you can make for your puppies. Each project takes less than 5 minutes to make, and you can make most of them using repurposed and upcycled materials. If you're new to me and new to my channel, hello and welcome! All the sewing projects included in this video are true beginner-friendly sewing projects. You don't need a whole lot of fancy fabrics. You don't need fancy sewing techniques. If you can sew a straight line, if you have some fabrics lying around at home, you can probably make the projects featured in this video. If you have been here on my channel before, welcome back. You know that I have been making dog beds and making DIY dog toys for my 3 basenjis on Instagram for a while now. So this video is actually a great summary of all of my favorite tried and tested DIY dog toys. So before we get started with the DIY dog project, I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about the sponsor for this video. PetCube. PetCube makes the most advanced interactive Wi-Fi pet cameras that help pet parents like you and me watch, talk to, play with, and treat our pets remotely. I'm in love with my PetCube Bites 2 Lite, which is a Wi-Fi pet camera that comes with a treat dispenser. And Ramses, being the super food motivated boy that he is in love with it as well. He has gotten to the stage where he knows that the treat is coming when he hears the treat dispenser starting up, and you can see his ears perking up and getting ready for the hunt, which is so cute and fun to watch. The wide angle lens allows me to see all 3 of my basenjis in the same room, and the night vision mode is amazing. Check out the range of Wi-Fi pet cameras that PetCube offers and get 5% off your purchase with my special link in the description box below. Now let's get started with our DIY dog projects.
Ramses, are you ready for more treats?
I think he's ready. Good boy! Let's go! So when it comes to dog bandanas, there are usually 3 styles. One with longer ends, so it could be tied around the neck like a human cowboy, and one where you actually insert the dog collar through so it snaps on and is kind of worn like the dog collar. My favorite style of dog bandana is the snap-on bandana that can be put on and taken off really quickly and easily. So this is the style of bandana that I'll be showing you in this sewing tutorial.
To make this DIY dog bandana, you need some fabric and a plastic snap button kit that looks like this. What I'm using here is this kitty fabric sold as a fat quarter at the fabric store, and this remnant piece of fabric from a previous sewing project. Quilting cotton works best for making a dog bandana like this. You can use the same fabric or different fabrics for a reversible dog bandana design. You will also need the dog bandana sewing pattern, which can be downloaded from my website. This snap-on dog bandana pattern has a finished neck circumference between 10 inches to 22 inches. To pick the best size for your dog, I suggest measuring the circumference of your pet's neck with the measuring tape, then adding about 1 to 2 inches to that for ease of movement. For Ramses, his neck circumference is about 13 inches, and I'm making the bandana with the finished size of 14 inches for him. For safety, you really want to make sure that there's enough room between the bandana and the neck when your dog is wearing it. Once you have printed and assembled the bandana sewing pattern, cut the size you want. Cut 2 pieces of the fabric out with the bandana pattern. Don't forget to also mark out the spot where the plastic snap buttons are meant to go on both ends of the bandana. Place the bandana pieces wrong sides together and sew them together along the edge, leaving about a 4-inch wide opening along the top edge for turning the bandana right side out. Don't forget to also backstitch at the start and end of sewing so the stitches don't unravel while you turn the bandana right side out. Trim the seam allowance in all 3 corners so the corners turn out nice and sharp. After turning the bandana right sides out, press the entire piece flat with an iron and stitch about 1/8 to 1/4 inch from the edge of the bandana. The 4-inch wide opening from the previous step should be sewn shut with this step. After that, use the markings you made earlier to install the plastic snap buttons at the ends of the bandana. Remember that the dog bandana is supposed to overlap, so make sure you have your snap buttons installed in the right directions. If you don't want to get a whole snap button kit just to make a single dog bandana, then you could also hand sew a little snap button like this one here.
So I don't usually recommend buying a new kit or of something just to make a little sewing project, but let's face it, this plastic snap button kit is going to be such a great investment because you're going to want to make bandanas for Christmas, for birthdays, for all kinds of holidays, for your puppies and his friends.
Here's Ramses in his new bandana.
So when it comes to making chew toys for your dogs, the choice of material is pretty important. A sturdy fabric like denim or canvas would be great for harder chewers, while milder chewers will appreciate softer textures. Ramses is actually a pretty hard chewer for a dog of his size, while Shiloh actually likes things that are softer with a fluffy type of texture. I'm kind of tailoring this crinkle dog toy for the both of them, so I'm going to be using a corduroy fabric for one side and a fuzzy old sock material for the other side of this crinkle dog bone.
For the crinkle on the inside, I'm using this plastic wrapper from my Pet Cube Wi-Fi pet camera. A plastic mailer or clean plastic food wrapper with similar crinkle property will work just as well.
So whatever material that you're deciding to use, I suggest that you test the crinkle property by crushing it in front of your dog and checking their reaction. I think it's gonna work.
First, draw out a bone shape. Over here, I folded the paper in half so both halves of the bone is symmetrical. Don't forget to add seam allowance around your shape after you're done, otherwise your bone toy will end up smaller than you imagined. For this project, I'm using a 3/8" seam allowance. Next, cut 2 pieces of your bone pattern out with the fabrics of your choice. Like I said, I'm using this corduroy fabric for one side of this dog bone toy and a fuzzy old sock for the other side. After that, lay the fabric pieces right sides together and sew all along the edge except, you guessed it, an opening along the straight edge to turn the bone right sides out. Next, trim the seam allowance, paying close attention to the dips at the ends of the bone, and then turn the bone piece right sides out. After turning the bone piece right sides out, stuff the rounded ends with some fabric scraps from cutting the bone shape out. Then trim your crinkle material so it's small enough to stuff in the middle of the bone. I'm also wrapping the plastic crinkle material up with more scrap pieces of fabric, so there's a little bit more squish to the bone when they bite onto it. When you're done with the stuffing, sew the opening shut by hand. This sewing stitch is called the ladder stitch, and you can click on the link at the top of this video or in the description box if you want a little bit more information on how to do this clean hand sewing technique. And that's it, you're done! Look at it!
Okay, so the thing is, sometimes I feel like they're so smart that they hate performing in front of a camera. I am in another room now, so I'm gonna see if they're gonna play with the crinkle dog bone toy through my Pet Cube Wi-Fi pet camera. Okay, are they playing?
No.
Oh, good girl. My first version of this DIY dog bone crinkle toy is one that I made using a chewed up dog blanket, and in terms of the crinkle material, instead of using plastic sheets, I used a flattened piece of water bottle, and they loved that version. I don't know why, they were just kind of not in the mood to play today. So let's go ahead and try another DIY dog toy, and this time it is a no-sew project.
So, the sock ball is a quick no-sew project that is a great alternative to the crinkle dog bone. To make this, you need a pair of old socks, preferably long ones, and washing is optional because we know the stinkier, the better, right? I'm also using this little squeaker that I've saved from another little chew toy that my dogs have chewed up. To make this simple DIY dog toy extra fun, you can also add a little bit of the crinkle material, which like I mentioned could really just be some plastic wrapper. So start by cutting the crinkle material big enough so you can wrap the squeaker in it. Then place the wrapped squeaker inside one of the socks. Double back that with the second sock to make it nice and thick and squishy, and finally tie a knot to keep all that squeaker and crinkle and fluff inside the sock.
Ramses, go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Okay, so my dogs are honestly super picky about their choice of dog toys, and they didn't end up being super excited about this particular version of the sock ball, which is weird because the last time I made it with a pair of old fuzzy socks, filled it with an old squeaker, some fluff, and some crinkly plastic mailer material, they were wild about it. I wonder if it's the fact that I sewed the ends and cut the excess off so it's more like an actual ball, which makes it seem like a little rat that they could hunt, that made them more excited about it. In any case, I truly believe that the size of the toy and the texture, they're just preferences that each different dog has. So that's something that you definitely have to consider when thinking about the type of toys to make for your dog. Okay, so when it comes to making DIY dog toys, I have truly saved the best for last. If the sock ball or the dog bone crinkle aren't exciting enough, this one is definitely gonna work. This is a great DIY interactive puzzle dog toy that you can hide treats with, which is a great mental stimulation for all dogs, and especially dogs who are food motivated. And best of all, you don't have to use the sewing machine for this one.
To make this DIY puzzle dog toy, find a sturdy fabric like canvas, corduroy, or denim. For my project, I'm using this sturdy cotton from a pair of thrifted shorts. First, cut a piece of rectangle that's about 4 by 9 inches wide. Then cut smaller strips of rectangle that's about 1 by 5 inches long. Next, fold the big rectangle in an accordion or fan-like manner with each fold about an inch wide. Finally, using the little strips, tie a knot on each end and in the middle, and there, you have a little candy wrapper. So just take your puppy's favorite treats and snug them between the folds like this. If you've done it right, the treats should tuck nicely between the folds and not fall out easily at all. This one is a lot of fun for Ramses.
So I started filming him about 5 minutes ago, and that's when he was already kind of like halfway through it and he's still working on it. And I guess in dog's world that's like what, multiplied by 7, so 35 minutes. I'm disturbing him. He's moving away from me. One thing to take note of in terms of your fabric selection, try to pick something that doesn't fray too easily. And if you can sew, I would strongly recommend that you sew the ends in. I'm just sitting here watching him and making sure that he doesn't swallow or eat too much of that fraying bits of fabric. So that's something to bear in mind. Don't forget to always supervise your dogs when they are playing with their chew toys. And if you haven't already, do boop the like button like this. And I will see you in the next video. Bye! Shake! Good boy!